Wouldn't it be great if someone just walked you through what you need to know in order to move to the executive level? I'm going to do that. In this video, I'm going to explain everything you need to know in order to go from mid-career professional to the executive level without playing politics, without being manipulative, and without shameless self-promotion tactics. The framework I'm going to teach you in this video is the same framework we use to help more than 100 clients move upwards in their careers towards the executive level. It was developed and fine-tuned by executive coaches, executive recruiters, and real-world executives. And it's helped dozens of our clients land executive roles after feeling stuck for years. Like our client Lewis, who had been laid off at the director level, but after working with us in 30 days had 3 interviews, and now is a vice president of a space tech startup. Or Dan, who was at the director level in the NFL, working to become a vice president, but now actually runs his own consulting business because he wound up getting too many offers, and so now he works with several organizations. Or like Bill, who was stuck at the director level for 5 years in a company that he loves, and after working with us for 6 months, he got promoted to vice president. And several others who have learned how to develop their executive presence, their leadership skills, and build their network. All of these people are just like you and me. They bought into this framework, they leaned into the process, and the results speak for themselves. I wish I could go back 14 years to the beginning of my executive career and apply all of the lessons and frameworks here. Just watching this video alone would have saved me from countless mistakes and missteps throughout my executive career. So grab a pen and take some notes because hopefully you'll find some value in today's video. So who is this video for? This video is for people at the mid-career level, senior manager, junior director, or a high-level individual contributor who feel like they're stuck in their career and there's some sort of glass ceiling over top of their head that they can't seem to break through. It's for folks who are typically mid-career, usually about 10 years into your career or more, and you've had a little bit of experience managing people on a team. Maybe you're at a crossroads in your career, not quite sure how to move forward from here. Maybe you've been looking online for executive roles and just not finding very many, and the ones that you apply to never call you back. Maybe you know you need to gain new skills, but you just don't know which skills to invest in. And maybe you're ready to invest in yourself, but you're not quite sure what investment to make. Should you get an MBA, another professional certification, something else? If that sounds like you, then keep watching this video. But if you want to lie and manipulate your way to the top or play office politics to move forward, this video is not for you. I don't teach that. What I teach works way better than office politics because if you're the right kind of person, you can become an amazing leader. So who am I to teach this to you? My name is Tom Cox, and I'm the founder of Vertical Motion. I have 14 years of real-world experience as an executive. I'm not a recruiter, although we have recruiters in the program. We teach you real-world practical executive skills that you can use straight away. I've started and led 2 VC-backed companies, one of which is 14 years old and still in business. I've also worked in publicly traded corporations as a senior executive, and I've closed more than $1.5 billion in sales in my career. None of my executive roles were ever found online, and in fact, 4 of those roles were actually created specifically for me. I'm also a U.S. Army veteran, and I learned a lot about leadership from my time in service. And last year, I founded this business, Vertical Motion, where we help mid-career professionals become executives through a high-touch coaching program called the Executive Career Accelerator. So let me explain the reason why I shifted my career from being an executive to being a coach. In August of 2022, while I was the number 2 executive in a publicly traded organization, I was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia, or AML. The doctors gave me weeks left to live. Life gets real when you're filling out a will, and it's not an academic exercise. It got really bad during those first 30 days in the hospital. During that time, I reflected a lot on my life and decided that if I survived, I wanted to spend the rest of my life teaching leadership. Later on, I learned that that is my life purpose, or my ikigai. And thanks to the fine doctors and nurses at Emory University Hospital in Atlanta, I've been in complete remission since February 2023. Coaching and mentoring people to become great leaders gives me a joy that I cannot describe. And so in June of 2023, I went ahead and retired from my career entirely and focused solely on coaching. I love what I do every single day. And that's where we're going to start with your executive career, figuring out how to align your life purpose with your next role. So before we dive in, let's just go through a quick true or false exercise. True or false? Executive roles are just higher level manager roles. That answer is false. Executives and managers do very different things. True or false, working harder in your role or being the best at what you do will get you promoted to the executive level. This is also false. Being really good at what you do can actually get you stuck in your role. True or false, you need an MBA or other professional certifications in order to even be considered for executive roles. This is also false. There are plenty of executives who have no MBA, no professional certs. Some don't even have college degrees. True or false, if you're a good manager, you'll be a good executive. The answer here is maybe. It doesn't always translate perfectly. Some people are great managers and terrible executives. Some people are great executives and terrible managers. So the skills don't actually line up like you think they might. True or false, the best place to find executive roles is on LinkedIn. By now you should know this is false. Somewhere between 70 and 90% of all executive roles are never posted online. True or false, it takes decades to get to the executive level. This is also false. Mark Zuckerberg was a CEO at 25, and other people go from being individual contributors to executives all the time. And finally, true or false, there's no structured way to learn executive skills. This is also false. And here's the thing. MBAs teach you the fundamentals of business, but not the fundamentals of executive leadership. There are very few places where you can actually learn that, but they do exist, including this framework. So let's start with the base of the framework, the foundations part. This is where you get clarity about who you are as a person today and who you want to become, where you are in your career right now, and where you want that to be. A great way to do this is to do a lot of self-assessments on yourself. Learn your emotional intelligence, your behaviors, your mindsets, your personality styles. Those are going to help you understand who you are as a person. You want to get clear about your career direction here. This is where you want to figure out what is the goal. One tool I like to use in order to figure out where I want my career to go is called Ikigai. This is a tool that helps you figure out what you love, what you're good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs that you can do. When you can find work that fills all four of those, that is your Ikigai or life purpose. Then when you can align your career to your Ikigai or your life purpose, that gives you the most fulfillment in your career. And work doesn't feel like work anymore. With that, you should be able to develop a career roadmap. This is a plan to get from where you are to the role that you really want. That might be CEO, that might be head of HR, it might be something different. But you can then choose the roles along that path on this career roadmap that help fill the gaps that you have in skill and experience along the way. Finally, you want to develop your personal executive brand. And your brand is what does the heavy lifting of bringing opportunities to you. Your personal executive brand is how people think about you when you're not around. So you want to build this brand in a truly authentic way so that people understand who you truly are. After foundations, the next thing we work on is executive upskilling. Executive upskilling is about building the skills that you need at the executive level. The most important executive skill that you can learn is executive presence. Executive presence is like your gravitas or your weight in the room. Like when Brad Pitt walks into the room, people feel a certain way around him. This is how you want people to feel about you. You want them to feel a certain way when you come into the room. That executive presence is made up by several things, but the three most important traits are your ability to communicate, decisiveness, and confidence. Not just confidence in yourself, but confidence that you can install in other people so that they feel confident in themselves, in you, and in the work that you're doing together. All of those traits and several others make up this sense of executive presence. Really important to have that. The other thing that you need to develop is your own executive style. This is actually how you manage and lead people. There's several frameworks that you can use to do this, such as radical candor, conscious leadership, transformational leadership. Servant leadership is a very popular framework, but you can use these frameworks to understand how you communicate and lead your teams. You also need to learn how to build out vision and strategy, and then take strategy and turn that into an executable plan with metrics and goals. That's a big part of being an executive, is learning how to come up with a great big idea and then break it down into things that people can actually go and complete. And you also need to work on understanding ethics and morals. At the executive level, things get a little fuzzy. And if you don't have strong morals or ethical values, you can get yourself into a lot of trouble really fast. And unfortunately, a lot of executives do. So this is something else you need to work on in your executive skills. With the base of the framework built, with your foundations and your executive skills, we're going to turn our attention to the top of the framework. This is the funnel. This is the part of the framework that actually brings opportunities to you. So at the top is network activation. You need to think of yourself as you Inc. You're a company that makes money. Your revenue comes from the W-2 paycheck from the one client or the company that you work for. And if you think about things that way, think about how often you spend time marketing yourself as a product or selling yourself as a product. Usually only do that when you've lost your job and now you have to go find a new job. Instead, we want to turn this around and have you thinking about yourself being out there constantly with constant marketing and constant selling. We do this in a lot of ways, primarily around launching your executive brand, both online and in real life. The way to do this is to launch your personal executive brand. And you can do that by putting yourself out there as a thought leader in several different ways. You can be writing a blog online, you can have a YouTube channel like this, or you could be on stage at conferences and events as a subject matter expert in an area that's focused around where you want your career to go. So if you want to move to the executive level in the tech space, you want to talk to executives in the tech space about topics that are important to them. This is how you use LinkedIn the right way. You turn yourself into a billboard. Your content attracts the right people to you. With the attraction happening, you can also be doing targeted outreach. But most of the time, the opportunities find you instead of you finding them. So become a thought leader around a topic that's important to your industry that's going to get you noticed by executives. And once those opportunities start showing up, you need to shift from marketing to sales, from promoting yourself on LinkedIn and online to nailing the interview. And here's how to nail an interview. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you are fully prepared. You want to know as much about the organization you're interviewing with as possible, including the hiring managers and whoever may be interviewing you. You also want to have a list of questions that's so long that you'll never be able to ask them all, and that's not the point. You just never want to run out of questions during the interview. And finally, you want to go in with a mindset of clarity and peace. Know that this is just an interview. A lot of us feel existential fear around an interview. It feels scary, and it's actually rooted in human psychology. We're tribal by nature because that's who survived the Ice Age. And so we feel like we're trying to enter a tribe when we're interviewing. And so we feel this existential risk. If we don't get into the tribe, we're not going to survive. So put that all aside if you can. Relax. It's just a conversation with normal people. Go in there with that frame of mind and you'll do great. You also want to keep the momentum up after the interview. You want to be reaching out occasionally, but also be focused on other opportunities as well. When offers do come, you want to try to time them so that multiple offers show up at once so you can negotiate against multiple companies at the same time. And if you want to understand executive compensation a little bit better, I have a tool on our website called the Executive Compensation Primer. The link for that's down below. That will walk you through all the ways that executives are compensated. And there are many beyond just base salary and bonus. Finally, when the time is right and you're ready to negotiate your offer, you want someone to help look over your shoulder to make sure that you're not leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table. Then, when you get the job offer, now you've just reached the starting line. It's not over yet. Now you're actually starting this whole next phase of your career. Congratulations on being promoted or landing that executive role. But now you have to focus on nailing the first 90 days in that role. That's a transition period where people give you a little bit of latitude to figure things out, but you want to go into those first 90 days with a plan. Before you start, you want to spend time preparing by talking with your direct supervisor and other people associated with the role. And then over the first 90 days, you want to do 3 things: observe, assess, and implement. The first 30 days, you're just watching what's going on and you're just seeing how things work. In the next 30 days, you're assessing what needs to be changed and how the systems can be improved. And then in that last 30 days, that's where you implement changes to make the system work better towards the way you want that system to work. And finally, after those first 90 days, you want to make sure that you have ongoing support. I would highly suggest that you work with an executive coach or join an ongoing mastermind program so that you can work through problems with people who are skilled and experienced in this space. So that's the framework, the whole executive framework, 5 sections to it: foundations, executive upskilling, network activation, interviewing and negotiation, and the first 90 days. If you can nail all 5 parts of that section, then you're going to become a great executive. Now, these 5 parts of this framework map directly to a program that my team and I have developed over the last 2 years called the Executive Career Accelerator. This is a 6-month program that meets you where you are and helps you take that next step in your career. You're learning 6 years of executive experience in about 6 months. This program helps you grow into the next level in your career, whether you're a high-level individual contributor or you're a senior manager and you want to move to director, vice president, or even beyond. We also help you get clarity on your career trajectory, where you're actually trying to go, and what you need to do in order to take these next steps. And this program gives you a ton of coaching, skills, tools, and everything you need in order to make this transformation happen. This 6-month program starts at the very beginning with a one-on-one call between you and me called the Foundations Call. In this call, you and I are going to review all of the assessments that we have you take and then decide if there's areas where you need to grow in order to move to the next level. This program also includes a streamlined course that teaches you everything you need to know step by step through the process. There are also implementation coaches, most of whom are executive recruiters with several years of experience that are there to help you along the way to make sure that you don't get stuck anywhere on the journey. Also included in the program is an amazing online community of like-minded aspiring leaders, more than 100 or so, who are also on the LinkedIn community, helping each other make first-level connections. And there are several weekly group coaching calls led by coaches, myself, or guest speakers who are talking about a specific topic. And finally, there's a mastermind program at the end. When you successfully transition to executive, there's an opportunity to join this executive level mastermind to actually take the next step in your career. We know this program works because we've had dozens of clients have tremendous success from this program. Like Joe, who had been with the same company for 25 years and didn't even know how to interview at the executive level. Now he works in the C-suite of a Fortune 50 company and he signed a 6-figure signing bonus. Or Ravleen, who is now a senior director in a nonprofit, one step down from her goal title, which is Chief Data Officer. And Diane, who landed a dream role in a Fortune 100 tech company just 30 days after we worked together, and she's already been promoted once in the first 6 months of her time there. And countless other successes that I just don't even have time to get into. This works because coaching works. And if you think about it, the most successful people in the world have coaches on their side. In sports, you can't get very far without having great coaching. And it works the same way in the executive world. Great executives have great executive coaches. Our goal is to coach you on how to become an executive. And what we coach is authenticity, empathy, and audacity. These traits, we believe, make the best executives in the long run. If you think about it, a high tide rises all boats. And if you're a great leader, you're going to bring everyone, including the entire organization, up with you. Great leaders tend to float up effortlessly in their career, constantly being tapped on their shoulder for the next opportunity, whereas manipulators and deceitful people have to always cajole and lie and manipulate their way into the next role. And look, if you suspect that most executives don't want you to move up, your suspicions are correct. They generally don't know how to teach what they did to get to where they are, and some executives don't even know how to do their job. And they don't want the competition, or they don't really recognize your executive potential. To them, you are more valuable as an individual contributor or a manager than you are as an aspiring executive. And let's face it, you would be competition for them. So working with a coach is the best way to learn what you need to learn in this more transactional economy we all work in now. So if you want to talk with a coach to build your strategy for your executive career, book a call with us. The link is down below. So you probably have a lot of questions, and I'd like to answer some of them now before we actually get on a call together. So what's the typical return on investment that people get in this program? Well, it depends. It's very dependent on people's industries and locations and skill levels and so forth. So very dependent, but generally speaking, we see people make tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars more as they transition from director to vice president or senior manager to senior director. For others, it's not really been about how much they make, but actually what they do. And so we've helped them realign their career so they have great upward mobility in a role that they actually enjoy doing. And if you think about what we're doing inside of this program, where else are you going to learn all of these things? How to interview at the executive level, how to activate your executive network the right way, how to build your career roadmap and your personal executive brand, how to negotiate your first ever executive level compensation package. And who walks you through the first 90 days? Certainly not an executive recruiter. So the return on investment is different for everyone, and it's not always quantified by dollars. Sometimes it's qualified by your experience. Generally, how long does it take to see results? Well, again, this is very dependent. We've had people speed run the program in 30 days or less. They're successful, they've landed a role, and they're working on their first 90 days. Others take their time as they're working through what do they really want to do with their career and their lives. What is the weekly time commitment? There's two answers to this. The short answer, it's about 4 hours a week that you need to commit to all of the things that we ask you to do. But here's the longer answer. We teach time management, and not just time management, but time, energy, and attention management. And when we teach you how to manage your time and energy better, you actually wind up with more time back doing the things that are important to you after that training. So most people report a net increase in time after working through this program. Another question I get is, how do I know I'm a fit for this program? And truthfully, not everyone is a fit for this. You need to qualify to join. That's why we interview every person on a discovery call to make sure that this program is right for them and they're right for the program. And if you've never worked with a coach before, truth be told, I had never worked with a coach before a couple years ago, and I didn't understand the value of coaching. And since I have started working with coaches, I have no regrets on spending money to work with them because they save me time, and I know that time is more valuable than the money I'm spending. And every time I invest in myself, I level up, and that's what we want to do with you as well. So how do you prepare for the discovery call? You want to be ready to answer some tough questions that the coach is going to have to figure out what's holding you back from success. And you might want to share this video with your significant other or spouse because this will help them understand the return on investment. And in fact, you can have them attend the discovery call. We talk with partners all the time. And then finally, decisiveness is one of the key traits to executive presence. So we're going to want you to be ready to make a decision on the call. If this program is right for you, you're going to want to take decisive action and move forward in your career. And finally, is there a money back guarantee? Is another question I get a lot. And the answer is not really. And the reason is that we find that people who are looking for a money back guarantee tend to find reasons to fail. And we don't want you to commit to this program only half-heartedly. We want you to commit 100% to it. You have to bring your discipline to this program. We provide the structure and the accountability for success, but you have to deliver the discipline to show up and do the things that we ask you to. We find that people with the mindset of looking for a money-back guarantee generally don't do well in this program, so we just don't invite them to the program. Now look, if you join and after 3 days you realize you've made a mistake, we'll refund your money in those first 3 days, minus the cost of the transaction fees. And if you haven't achieved your goals in that 6-month period of time, but you've been showing up and working hard, we will keep working with you past the 6-month period to help you get to where you're trying to go. So it's not a money back guarantee, but it is a guarantee that if you show up, we'll show up too. All right, so if you want to have a call with a coach who can help you determine if this is the right program for you and determine what the right next steps are for you, and if we'd be a fit to work together, then click the link below to book a call with one of our discovery coaches. On that call, we'll talk through what the right coaching is that you need in order to be successful and whether we offer that or not. And once you've booked your call, I encourage you to watch some of our YouTube videos and some of our testimonials and case studies so you can get a sense of what the coaching experience will be like working with us. Book your call soon. We can only take a few calls every week, and those slots fill up pretty fast. So that's everything. That's the framework. That's the program. That's the Q&A. That's everything you need to know to determine how you take the next step forward from here. And look, I'm a very authentic person. How I am on this video right now is how I am in real life as well. I care very deeply about the success of all the people we work with, and I hope that you decide to work with us to have that same level of success. Hopefully, we've answered all of your questions that you might have, but if we haven't, feel free to comment your questions below on this video, and we'll make follow-up videos to explain the answers to those questions. Also, bring your questions to the discovery call as well, and the discovery coach can answer many of them for you. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.